Here's a quick guide to playing Lamb the Stormcrane Elder in MTG Brawl. So he's a 4 mana human monk. He has 3/3 in prowess. Whenever he casts a non-creature spell, it makes a Monastery Mentor. And Monastery Mentor will make little 1/1 human monk tokens for every spell you cast as well. So you end up chaining a whole bunch of tokens together. So the way you do that, you play a lot of really cheap artifacts and instants. So we got our commander, and we're going to see in our artifact section, there's a bunch of 0 mana ones like Accordion's Shield, Chrome Mox, Mishram's Bauble, Mox Amber, Bone Saw, so on. Or Astral Cornucopia you can play for X of 0. And then we have a bunch of can-tripping artifacts like Candy Trail. When it enters your Scry 2, you can pay 2 and sack it to draw a card. Chrome Spheres, classic 1 mana, cycle 1 mana, draw a card. Same idea with the sphere. A lot of 2 mana enters, draw a card. Cloud Key can make our artifacts cheaper to make them basically free. Mystic Forge will. A lot of our deck is colorless, as you see here. We have 31 artifacts, so Mystic Forge will make a lot of times the top of our library. Just let us keep chaining things together over and over again. And we have some ramp. Solar Transformer, Arcane Signet. Yeah, we have some ramp, but not much. Chromox, Mind Stone, Arcane Signet. You'll see the full deck list for more details there. Springleaf Drum will help out with our... once we have our commander down, we can tap any of our creatures for mana. That's just another way of making mana. It also is just a really cheap artifact to play. We have some enchantments. This one is just to draw a card. This one also is to help draw. A lot of them is just kind of draw engine stuff and to delay their commander a bit. In terms of lands, mostly you just want a bunch of plains and Cavern of Souls ideally, in case you get lucky so they can't counter it. 3-tree City is pretty nice. You can name human or monk, and then they will generate a lot of mana. Fomori Vault also is pretty nice. You play a lot of artifacts, so this can help you if you get hellbent. You make a bunch of tokens. You can start sacrificing the tokens to draw cards. Inventor's Fair, we play a lot of artifacts, so it gains a little bit of life. But more importantly, once we have enough artifacts in play, we can use this to go and fetch any artifact in our deck. I like always having a Blast Zone in a deck if I don't need to be too restrictive on colorless lands. And this is just to ramp us, basically, to get us up 1 mana on the next turn. The rest don't really matter too much there. For spells, we need a good amount of protection spells. So we're going to cast our commander, but we're not going to do it with just 4 mana in most cases. We want to do it when we have 5 mana and a protection spell. Things like Brave the Elements, Cloud Shift can blink it, Crumb and Get It is just another way to give it indestructible, hexproof. So there's a bunch of those types of abilities. They gain indestructible, more just, you and permanent control gain hexproof until end of turn. We have very minimal interaction with their stuff, so we have like a Swords to Plowshares, but very minimal otherwise. Reprieve is protection as well as interaction. To deal with possible board wipes, we have some blink effects, which can blink our commander. And Teferi's protection also works for that. It phases everything out. But mostly we're doing Silence and Orm's Chant. So you pause during their upkeep, you cast Orm's Chant. They will not be able to cast any sorcery spells during that turn, or any creatures or anything like that, obviously. And then same with Silence here. But for the most part, you're playing a whole bunch of cheap can-tripping spells and Lamb. Ideally, you want to have at least 5 mana when you play them, so you can play Lamb and keep up a protection spell. And then your following turn, you can just go off with a bunch of can-tripping artifacts or some of your card generation. I found Uganai the Storm is a nice top end in this deck just because you play so many colorless spells, and every time you cast a colorless spell, you get to exile a permanent. So that can always come in handy. Elspeth can pump all of your tokens. It also doubles the amount of tokens you make as well. So that's very powerful. This is just another way of discounting all your spells. But that's the basics of what you're doing with Lamb. And now let's talk about mulligan decisions with Lamb. So with Lamb, you want to have ideally some amount of ramp, like we have the Air to Watchways here, and then some amount of protection. We don't have any protection yet. We have a couple cantrippers here. They're not the best, so this is a non-ideal hand. I would probably take a mulligan, try to find something better. Here we only have one land, so this will be a mulligan for sure. This one we have Chromox, and we would probably do it on the Rebellious Strike, and we have Orm's Chant as our only real protection. This one I would keep, because we got double ramp here, which is really nice. So our turn 1 could just be, the land. Turn 2, Found Porn, Cold Steel Heart, and then we'll see if we have a better target for our Chrome Mox after that. And hopefully we draw more protection, but Orm's Chant can work in a pinch. So we cast our commander, and then we pass, and then we Orm's Chant during their upkeep, and hopefully they do not have any instant speed interaction to go and destroy him in this case. But it's possible we could draw some sort of protection, like here, God's Willing. But that's the basic of it. So you want some amount of ramp, ideally. Like this has ramp. This can slow down the commander. This has a cantripping artifact at least, so this one I would keep as well. It's got some interaction, a ramp, cantripping artifact. The protection's really expensive, but we might be able to get there without it. And at least we'll get some value out of our commander when we get to 5 mana. So Crumb and Get It, God's Willing, those both would give Indestructible. So that's the basics of the mulligan decisions with Lamb. Alright, so we had ramp, and we have protection for our next turn, and we have a 0 mana artifact, so this is a pretty ideal start. So here we go, we cast our buddy, we get some value, and then we have protection for him as needed. And it's even one that phases him out, so just waiting for something to hit our guy. Their commander dude. They're just gonna go in. Alright. Choose target creature. Each creature controls deals damage to that creature. Sure. Whichever one they do, I'll block it. I guess that's fine. That's fine. I could also pressure. I can do all of these next turn if I want. But let's start pausing their upkeep. We don't have any good attacks. And then we do Orm's Chant. Trigger all our dudes. Alright, they can't cast anything. Cool. And I can tap down their Adeline, so it doesn't get out of line. And we draw a Cyclone spell for our next turn. And they concede. There you go. That's basically how you play the deck. Just have mana up for protection and use it accordingly. So I protected it when they targeted my creature, and then during their upkeep, in case they had a sorcery board wipe or something like that, did the same thing. Thankfully they didn't have another targeted removal then. And that's it.